All right, cheers and welcome everyone to Happy Hour with the Lincoln. We are now on episode number 59, and you know what I'm going to do today? Today I'm going to drink this whiskey. And I'm going to tell you a story that will pay you dividends as you wander through this journey we call life. That's right. Okay, now enough of that. If you're sitting there, as I always say at the beginning of these, and you're saying to yourself, I want to be a professional trader. I'm already a trader and I want to be a better trader. I want to raise the bar for myself. I want to be part of a community where there's no egos and there's great guidance and great people working together to challenge me and to make me better and to take me to another level. Do me a favor. Right here is the live trade room link. Just click on it. You can start trading with us live right away. Now, if you read the description, you obviously know what my topic is going to be this week, because it's in there. And it is the biggest topic of the week. And that is the story of Tesla, the tweets, and the eccentric CEO rocket man himself, Elon Musk. Now, there's obviously a big issue here, some bordering on something that's unprecedented, that we haven't really seen before, and something that really drives home the impact of the kind of environment that we are in right now when it comes to social media and the power that it has over our culture. We've seen it in the election, we see it today, and now we're starting to see CEOs of companies being able to do things that they weren't able to do. Now, why this is important to us as traders is because when I first started out, social media wasn't something we had to worry about. We didn't have to worry about a tweet having the power to tank the market or having the ability to tank a stock or create an epic event in the stock market. But now, this is something that we have to do, and this is something that will have a debate that will go on for the rest of the year and may end up changing legislation on the way things are done. Now, why I'm going to do this, because I got tons of questions about people asking me, should I buy Tesla here? Should I short Tesla on this? And I'm just going to nip this in the bud right now because I got hundreds of these. This is the biggest question I got all week. And the answer is no. If you're not a pro trader, just stay the hell away from this thing. It's going through mass drama right now because literally you are one tweet away from either making $1 million or going bankrupt. I mean, you really are vulnerable in that any second throughout the day, something could happen here and it could have, great consequences for you, but it also could end your trading career in a snap or put one hell of a hurting on you. And you just cannot as a trader subject yourself to such uncertainty. So now I know a lot of you out there are watching, you're new to trading. You don't really understand what's going on. A lot of you are watching, you're active on social media and you understand. I just kind of want to go back and just kind of touch on this so everyone's on the same page. It all starts out on Tuesday, and Tesla gets a really nice bump, a nice breakout, nice pop in the afternoon on this news that Saudis are going to invest $2 billion. And I want to put the charts up here somewhere so everyone can see it. And the stock bounces from like $340 up to 350 area, 55s and such. So it's a pretty good move. That's a good move. And it's understandable. That's a pretty good news story. That's a positive, and that's good. When something like that happens, it's normal for the stock to go sideways for just a moment and allow people to digest that, because there's always going to be a knee-jerk reaction to news and stuff like that. And then sometimes it turns out the news wasn't really as good as they thought and the stock sells off. Other times it's better and the stock goes higher. Well, one of the issues that we have just a few minutes, just maybe 10, 15 minutes after this, Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, tweets. And it's just a little tiny small sentence to show you the power of words. And the tweet is, I'll put it up here, am considering taking Tesla private at 420. Funding secured. Now from that moment, that thing goes up like another $40. Just like that. So this whole move is like 50 plus bucks or something like that from the bottom. Shorts are getting burned, longs are chasing, they're ultimately going to get burned. This fiasco goes on with volume. And then the question becomes, was this the right move for a CEO of a top publicly traded company to be doing on social media? Now, one of the beautiful things about living in America is you have freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want and practically do whatever you want. But there's certain things that maybe you should keep to yourself, right? So like, let's say you go out to Vegas on the weekend and you mingle with some people and some things happen. Maybe you don't go back home and tell everybody some of those embarrassing moments, if you know what I mean. There are certain things for the protection of people, for the protection of public, that you should just, sometimes the best word is no word at all. Now, there's a lot of problems with this here. First of all, that move right there, just that brief move, for him, by the end of the day, it created about $1 billion worth of wealth for him. Just that move, that sentence, instantly created $1 billion of wealth for him. Not a bad way, right? There was also billions of money changing. I mean, people made billions, lost billions, people made out, people got screwed, all based off of these words. Now, when you take a look at this, there's a couple of things that stand out that make this a problem. And this has nothing to do with Tesla, the company, the cutting edge. I've always been a Musk fan. I like Tesla. I love driving Teslas. I like the rockets. I love the whole innovate. I love that. And I like the cutting edge. But sometimes people with the cutting edge go a little too far, and this may be that case. The first thing that you have to question in this was the timing of, the impeccable timing of this event. Because this is not something that you just found out 10 minutes after the Saudis. This is obviously something you knew a week ago, 2 weeks ago, or had thought up in your mind. Maybe you sat down and talked about it with the board, your attorneys, people in your inner circle. You sort of had this news in your hip pocket, ready to use whenever you wanted to. So the timing of actually using this news pretty unique. That was just at the right time after the Saudi bump, and then on top of that was sort of like, icing on the cake and so on. That's number one. The second is the way that it's written. You're saying that you're considering taking your company private, and you have funding secured. So what do you mean by funding secured? Is this a real thing that you're talking about, or is this some hearsay? Now, this is something that always goes on in the market in one level or the next. We're just seeing a very exacerbated level of it. And I've always made fun of the term strategic options. If you guys traded a little while, you know what that is. But companies often go up a lot when they announce we're going through strategic options. We're looking at strategic options. Now, that's a term for we're looking at revamping our company, changing our approach, pivoting, for the hipster word. But really, what does that mean? Like, what is a strategic option? Like, a strategic option can be just like me getting up in the morning and going, maybe instead of drinking coffee, I'll try some tea. Who discussed these strategic? Did you just sit down at a table and everybody just kind of, shooting the shit for a few minutes and okay, I guess maybe we'll look at that, maybe. And then your stock goes up $10, $15, your market cap increases by millions? Or do you actually have a concrete clad plan? Now, because this was such an odd event, the SEC obviously is going to step in and want to look at this. And since that time, call it irony, Tesla has given back the whole entire lot. So it's like robbing the bank, running down the road, getting caught by the police. You only had the money for a little while. It was just this whole fiasco. And then right now, back and forth, the board's going to do this. And that's why I said, guys, you got to stay out of this. The point I want to drive home to you here is a couple. The first is when you're taking on this job, at times it seems like the market is routine. But remember, this is the stock market. At any given time, any given minute, something can happen. Now, we've been in this pretty peaceful era of trading lately, but I can remember when I started, it wasn't as bad as maybe it was in the 70s, but we had things like 9/11 that we had to deal with. We had credit crises and banks going out of business or potentially going out of business. And these put fear and uncertainty into people. And we haven't seen those types of events where they've had this just quick impact on the market that just devastated it. Now that we have social media, you're looking at the ability to move companies. When other CEOs see this, the question will be, will they start taking suit? So now if you're a trader, you have to look at yourself and say, is this a variable I want to put in my repertoire? Is this something I have to prepare for now? Is that, the Campbell Soup CEO could start coming out? The most boringest of companies could start coming out and saying things and doing things. And I can kind of remember something very simple. You guys remember Digley, DGLY, one of the most hilarious stocks ever. And he did that a couple of years ago. Right? We got a big announcement. We got a big announcement. That's all they said. We got a big announcement. We got a big announcement on social media. All their perma bulls were throwing money at stocks going up, stocks going up. Everybody's saying they've got a contract. They do body cameras. Got a contract with this police department, that police department, this police department, that one. And it turns out they were just sponsoring a golf tournament. Yeah. So, we look at stock trading, and the thing you got to understand here, I guess the big takeaway is, like the saying, you can't hate the player, hate the game. This, if you're going to do this is what you have to deal with. That kind of garbage. Some people say the market's not manipulated. Some people say there's scams are under control, but there's always going to be scams. Sometimes people are scamming on a small level. Sometimes they're pulling the wool over your eyes. Like this, sometimes I think is like, Barnum and Bailey circus, like in the old days. Step right up, see the bearded lady, or the talking goat, or whatever it is. It's a way to influence people. So when we're looking at this, one of the things we really have to evolve now as traders is social media is here to stay for a while. We're going to have to deal with this and prepare for this and pay attention to things like this because, like I said, maybe you thought this was great when you were long, but what if, the next day, well, now that it's come down, but what if the next day Tesla offices get raided over something like this? You're not going to find that funny. What if you're long a company and something comes out about a CEO like that from a popular source on the web, and then your stock takes it? You're not going to like that. So you've got to, when we're talking about this whole thing, to make this short rather than just continuing to rant, is this something that's illegal? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legalities of this. Is it questionable and gray? Hell, it's really gray. It's very, very questionable. It's definitely something a CEO shouldn't be saying, especially if the deal is not even close to being done or that's not true. Because if it's not, and the longer that it takes for something like this to develop, you're losing credibility as a human being. The board of directors are going to get upset with you. Shareholders are going to get upset with you. You may end up maybe giving bulls money for a short period of time, but this stock may end up getting halted, or something seriously may come out of this, and it may damage your reputation forever, and no one will ever listen to you again. And so, yeah, it's very sketchy. It's also something that may open up the door for us traders now that we have to pay attention to all these CEOs with Twitter accounts. I mean, if Zuckerberg wants to come out and just say, you know what, I'm thinking about taking Facebook private, and that thing goes up, to $500 a share, and he's like, well, I just thought about it. That's all. I was just sitting around home, maybe smoking a bong. That's my impersonation. And he's like, hey, I don't even know if he does that. Hey, I'm going to take it private. And all right, okay, whatever. And the stock goes up. So this is now an element you've got to pay attention to what's happening at social media. And it's tough. It's tough to put that into your current routine, but that's just the way it is. And who knows with this legislation. And also the last thing I got to say about this is it's probably pro traders only for right now. Got to let this thing settle down. Got to let it blow over and all that kind of stuff. So again, what we're seeing here is something that's unprecedented. Definitely not going to be the last that you hear of this. It's going to be something you're going to have to deal with, I think, not just with Tesla, but something that you're going to have to deal with all the stocks you trade. You're going to have to pay very close attention to them and always be on your toes. So if you guys need help, you got to be on the toes. I'm on my toes underneath it here anyway. Visit thelincolnlist.com. Until the next happy hour, I appreciate the rant. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the likes, and cheers.